The changing of seasons can affect how you feel. 1 in 5 people experience some form of depression, no matter the time of year.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, our vision is to build a mentally healthy nation for all. Visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
Welcome to the Dogs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
What's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Therapy session number 8 of the season.
Yeah.
And this is maybe just foreshadowing into a whole bunch more in the not so distant future. At least we have the Cavs to get us through this, because it's gotten ugly quick for the Browns. And I guess I won't say quick. I feel like we've been dying a slow, painful death the first 10 weeks, 11 weeks of the season. But here we are. Obviously, no Justin tonight, just Josh and myself in studio. Going to help you guys get through this short week, hopefully talk you guys off the ledge or join you on it. I guess we'll see how the episode goes. But before we get into, honestly, a weird Browns loss. If you looked at the stat sheet, you would think it was kind of weird, at least on one side of the page, especially when you see how lopsided the score was. So kind of a weird, only in Cleveland kind of loss. We're used to these by now. Maybe not the last couple of years, but in our lives, this is pretty much par for the course when it comes to Browns losses. So before we get into everything, though, remember, if you want to get your thoughts and interests on the show, head to thedogspodcast.com tab, leave voicemail in the drop-down menu. If you prefer to just listen to the show, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, and Google. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Please subscribe. It helps us out. Don't quit on us. We can quit you might quit on the Browns, but please don't quit on us. Not yet. We still got a month and a half of this season to go, and it'll get real boring if you're not here with us. So please like, subscribe, make sure the notification bell is tapped so you don't miss any of the content we're putting out. We're better than the Browns, I promise.
Yeah. And
that's not even me being cocky. We could be very average podcasters.
Yeah, absolutely.
And be better at podcasting than the Browns are at playing football.
And as soon as the season is over, though, you do want to be subscribed and tap the notification bell for sure, because we're going to dive right. This year, especially this offseason, diving hardcore into draft prep.
Yes.
Because we're going to have a high pick, potentially number 1. And it's going to be very interesting.
Yep. So our Super Bowl is right around the corner, guys. So don't go anywhere.
Yeah, I see. Ashton says, let me go grab some comfort snacks. If you guys aren't laying like on a couch, in like a dimly lit room, or something, go for it.
Get a pillow.
Yeah.
If you have maybe like a favorite stuffed animal or blanket from when you were a kid.
Just hug that thing to your chest.
Just something to feel comfortable. You can find us on all the social media platforms. I almost lost my train of thought, but like I said, I'm at least average at this. You can find us at the Dogs Podcast on all of the major social media platforms. And last, if you're looking for more Dogs content, head to jointhedogs.com, become an official Dog Pack member on the Patreon page, play fantasy football with us, get to be a part of the Dog Pack Discord preview episodes when we preview the upcoming opponent for that week, get your thoughts on the show, just hang out with guys from all around the world and gals. We got a couple gals in there. They're all fun contributors. It's just a good time for everybody involved. So that if you want more content, you want to meet a bunch of Browns fans from all over, that's jointhedogs.com to become an official Dog Pack member.
I will say this real quick. You said there's a couple gals in there. We interviewed Greg Pruitt yesterday morning before the game, me and Justin. And that episode will come out probably later this week. But we asked him about Browns fans. And the first thing he talked about with Browns fans in general, he's like, I was just blown away when I was here, and then, after my career, with how knowledgeable and passionate the women fans are. He's like, I've been in other fan bases, and it's just not like that. He said the women in the Browns fan base are passionate, and they know football. I said, yeah, they do.
One fun story of kind of like of a female fan. The only time I've ever sat in the dog pound was Johnny Manziel's second year, and it was against the Titans. It was like where in the second play of the game or something, he threw a bomb to Travis Benjamin for a touchdown.
I was going
and
back.
They had Marcus Mariota. Yeah, I'm sitting in the dog pound, and there was probably like a 75-year-old lady sitting 2 people down from me, and Marcus Mariota did something. He was celebrating, and she's just like, "Fuck you, Marcus Mariota!" And I was just looking around. I was like, "That's how I knew I was with my people." This 75-year-old lady cussing out Marcus Mariota. So we might not have we might not have much to look forward to on the field, but we all have each other at least to try to keep ourselves up during these dark times. But I figured we should start it off on a positive note, maybe a fun story from Brown's past to get us into the sadness. Before we give you all of our thoughts and kind of start talking about where it went wrong, got a couple of voicemails. We're going to let, I think it's Kenny Mack, kick it off for us.
Oh, when the Saints go marching in. Oh, when the Saints go marching in. They use Taysom Hill, and they get 3 touchdowns because the Browns can't stop them. How do you like my song, guys? I do not like it at all because it is true. I just want to get into the game. You know, the offense was great. Not great, sorry. They were okay. They were fun to watch. But special teams and the defense, man, they had nothing. No miles. I don't know how many times we got to look at Denzel Ward pass off to nobody. Our give a damn factor is super low. I mean, it's like one guy on the Saints, Taysom Hill, has more give a damn factor than our entire team put together. And, you know, one thing about the special teams, I got a rule. When you drink and you're throwing a couple back, you spill your drink all over the place, you got to go home. Well, if you're a kicker and you're kicking on and you get a penalty and it moves you 10 yards further, like closer, and you maybe move a couple more yards and you miss again, might as well just pack up all your bags and you might as well just go home. Last but not least, special teams, and they used Kadarius Toney, they used the Wildcat. These are all the things that I said the Browns should be doing. Like, what they do, intercept what we were saying, watch our program? Like, man, oh man, we got 7 games left. I think 4 are in prime time, 3. Ugh. Can the NFL just take these guys and reschedule? Anyways, I'm out.
I mean, the Kadarius Toney play, like, was that just not the most, this is how the Browns are going to try to use a gadget guy kind of play?
Put him in it. I mean, you put him in at running back for the first play and do a toss or whatever, and then he just runs backwards.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's been on the team for months, and this is what we dreamed up.
The outside stuff has never worked with Elijah Moore. We can't run outside with Jerome Ford, Nick Chubb. So what are we doing? People
will blame Kevin for that, but he's not even the one calling the plays or designing the plays anymore. I guess Kenny talked about special teams and I see a couple comments in here about Fire Bubba Ventrone. Special teams have cost us easily 50 points this year. Here's where, and this has kind of been my takeaway from the Browns so far this season. I just don't think our roster is as good as what we thought it was. Okay? Like, especially on the lines. We thought our defensive line was going to be, a top 3 to 5 defensive line in football. And outside of Myles Garrett, it's just a bunch of guys. I mean, when was the last time you watched the game you heard Sheldon Richardson's name?
Oh, you mean Dalvin Tomlinson?
Dalvin Tomlinson. You know what I mean?
Same guy, apparently, right?
Yeah, I mean, our defensive line was supposed to be a very good unit, and it is. They don't do anything. Our offensive line is the healthiest it's been in 2 seasons. They can't run block for shit.
No, I was watching.
That's supposed to be their strength.
Yeah, you're right. I watched the game with my dad yesterday, and the broadcast was talking about how, it was like halfway through the third quarter, and they're like, well, Myles Garrett hasn't registered a stat yet today. And my dad's like, well, if he's taking on double teams, where's the guy on the other side who's supposed to be doing stuff? And I said, we just traded him to Detroit. I mean, Zadarius Smith was the only other guy on that line really doing much this year. I mean, consistently. He was actually having a very good season when you go back and look at the stats. His stats in the, 7 or 8 games with the Browns this year were already almost what they were last year in almost the whole season with the Browns. So he was having a very good year.
Yeah. But to my point about, I just don't know if the roster is as good as what we thought it was. That will be reflected in poor special teams play. Special teams is your depth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, you made that point last week.
I made that point last week. Like, if you're not a deep football team and you're not a very good football team, your special teams will be not a very good unit, unless the only way to overcome that is you got to start putting starters out on your special teams. You're not going to do that in the NFL. You're not going to have, starting guys out there on your special teams, at least not at all 11 positions. You might have a lineman sprinkled in here or there, but your special teams those are typically like fringe roster, second and third string players. Well, if your starters aren't as good as what you thought they were going to be, what does that say about your second and third string players? They're definitely not as good as what we thought they were going to be. I think our depth isn't as good. I don't think our starters on either side of the ball are as good. We don't have a single difference maker on the offensive side of the ball. There isn't a single. I think the Browns wide receiver core could be very solid if we had a good quarterback, a consistently good quarterback, and if we had an X factor somewhere out there that scares you when the ball is in his hands. We have to scheme everybody open. There's just nobody that scares you on the offensive side of the ball. It used to be Nick Chubb. He's clearly not Nick Chubb right now.
No, he is not himself, and it just looks like it's going to be a while. I think he can get back at least maybe 85% of what he used to be, but that ain't gonna be till next year, I don't think.
And even then, it's just, yeah. I've been saying this for 3-4 years. We lack speed. We don't have any scare you speed on the offensive side of the ball. Like guys that are just electric. I watched some Lions highlights. Jahmyr Gibbs looks significantly faster than everybody else on the field. We don't have anybody like that.
No, nope.
We don't have anybody like that. So I just think the roster is just not as good as what we thought it was. And we thought it was really good because we came off an 11-game season or 11-win season, and we did it with 5 different starting quarterbacks. But if you go look, we've lost like 10 of our last 12 or something. And if you really dig into last year, which we didn't want to hear this last year because we were in the moment and we were playing with 5 different quarterbacks, we won a lot of games last year with some luck, some calls that most of the time do not go the Browns' way. And we got the call. Like, it's not like we just straight dominated teams last year.
No.
You know what I mean?
You're right.
We won some games, some fluky kind of games, and I've kind of compared it to bowling before where you might go out and throw a 260, but you had 8 Brooklyn strikes. And then the next game you throw 140 and you're like, how can that happen? And it's like, well, you might have got a lot of strikes last game, but they weren't clean. You weren't hitting the pocket. You weren't bowling well.
Pins just fell your way.
Yes, the pins you got some slop. The pins just kind of fell your way and you got lucky for a game. But if you throw Brooklyn 3 games in a row, you're most likely not going to have a good series. I feel like that's kind of the Browns season from last year transitioning into this year. There's some of the holes that we had last year defensively, now that we're not forcing as many turnovers, are even more glaring. So maybe we weren't playing as sound as defensive football as we thought last year, but we were forcing a ton of turnovers and getting, some pressure, especially on like bad offensive lines and bad quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And it was inflating our stats and making us feel better than what we really were. And you saw it when we played good quarterbacks on the road. The defense was trash.
Well, and that yesterday I felt like that again. I was like, this feels like what we talked about all offseason, like that what was it, 32nd ranked road defense from last year. That can't translate into this year. Like, it's got to be better. And yesterday was that road defense that is just, it's terrible. I mean, it's unreal. And going back to your roster point, I saw, maybe you saw it too, I saw a tweet from Daryl Reuter who, I don't know, like I'm starting to agree with more and more of the stuff he says because he's being very critical of the Browns. But he tweeted yesterday, said the most expensive football team in NFL history that was expected to be a playoff contender can't tackle, can't handle assignments, can't execute plays correctly, and cannot score. And then he goes on to say, in no world does the top football exec with the fancy title or the head coach survive that. But you think about all the money that Haslam and this, front office has poured into this roster, and then you've got guys like, this is my favorite nickname that I've seen all day, and it's Jog Thornhill. I love that. I'm going to start calling him Jog all the time. Like, what the hell is that?
Here's the thing about Thornhill. It's Ashton in here says he hated signing him, but everything we were told about him, even from Kansas City fans, was how much they liked him. And he was one of the top safeties on the market.
And that's why they couldn't keep him, because he was high demand on the market.
Yeah, so it's just, I'm shocked at how bad he is. I saw a stat, and I don't know if it's true. Somebody posted it in our Discord. Yeah. He's almost not recorded any stats.
Well, and I tweeted that out today, so let me look at that. So 2 seasons with the Browns, obviously not full because he's missed a lot of time, but he has 0 interceptions, 0 forced fumbles, 0 sacks, only 1 tackle for loss, and only 2 total pass breakups in all the games he's played for us.
And this is verifiable.
Yes.
This is verifiable.
Yeah, I went to actually NFL or ProFootballReference.com
and checked it out. So what's he been doing?
I don't know, man. People are saying like, man, this is making JJ3 look like a good signing.
Yeah, at least JJ3 when he first got here had a couple did some nice things. It's unbelievable. I don't know what he's doing. He's almost always part of every
broken
communication breakdown. He's involved in it somehow. And it's like at some point there's a common denominator.
Yeah, it was him with MVS yesterday. It was him with Quentin Johnston the last time we played against the Chargers. And everybody before you got here, we were in the chat talking. They said, well, who's it going to be Thursday night? I said, it'll be Mike Williams. It'll be that one receiver that you don't really know, and they don't really do anything against anybody else. But it'll be him that gets down the field. And Denzel Ward's like, hey, I got my safety back here, and Thornhill's over here picking his butt. I don't know.
I don't understand. I don't know how it went so bad.
I don't know, man.
We had Chiefs fans telling us, like, you're going to love this guy.
I know. And did you see that play? I'm pretty sure it was Ronnie was it Hickman who came? Oh, no, it was Devin Bush. The linebacker came barreling down the sideline, blew clear past Juan Thornhill, trying to make a last-second ditch tackle on MVS before he gets to the end zone. And Thornhill's just jogging. And he had already given up by that point. I mean, and Bush is, I'm like, you're the safety. You were already back here.
He needs to be benched.
Yes, that's what I said. Bench him immediately. Let Hickman play. If he wants to play, let the kid play.
Yeah. Let somebody else play. It's just, I don't know. I used to think this was going to be a soft retool. I don't know. If I'm looking at the defense, I'm obviously keeping Ward, Emerson, probably Newsome. I think the cornerback group is still pretty good. Delpit, I think, is very solid.
Did you see the stats in the notes here? I'll pull it up. The cornerbacks actually played well yesterday. Emerson, I don't think they might have targeted him twice, didn't allow a catch. Ward, only 2 catches for 9 yards. They didn't even target Newsome. They didn't have to because Taysom Hill ran all over the ground. We'll talk about him in a little bit, but it was Jordan Hicks at the linebacker spot. We're missing JOK. He got eaten up through the air, 5 for 78. Thornhill again on the 71 to MVS. Delpit 5 for 38, but yeah.
So I'll keep my 3 corners and I'll keep Delpit.
Sure. Yeah.
And obviously I'm keeping Miles and JOK. That's 6 spots up for grabs, honestly.
Yeah. Did you see the Mary Kay stuff about the speculation of JOK potentially not being able to play football ever again? That. I think you guys in the chat verify this for me. Maybe I missed something. I tried to find it today. So I saw her article where she said the Browns, they put him on IR saying that, he's not going to be back for the next 4 games, potentially maybe miss the rest of the season, depending on how the season goes.
Why would you bring him back?
Well, and then she goes on to say, and I'm like, this is where there's some Mary Kay speculation BS. And she said, nobody has yet to comment on the future of his NFL career.
She's just looking for clicks on that. She can get some things right. And she got
because now it's going around Twitter a lot. Like, oh man, I hope JOK doesn't retire and all this stuff. I'm like, I haven't heard anything other than her little speculation on it. And it really wasn't anything to me.
Kenny says our defensive line got pushed all over the place. Listen, I've watched a decent amount of the Browns, all 22 this year, and we have defensive linemen that look like they're on roller skates all the time. I said it about, I think, Mo Hurst early in the season.
Getting blown up. Cowboys.
In the week 1.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this guy, and he's living 6 yards deep into our defensive backfield. Every play just getting pummeled by a Cowboys team that is freaking as big of a disaster as we are. How bad are we?
Oh my gosh, dude.
How bad are we?
We've gotten blown out by them. We got manhandled by the Giants, who are 2-8. The Raiders, who are 3
they can't decide on a quarterback. The only solace I have in the fact that the Browns are this bad this year is I think I saw there's 16 teams or something under 500. The quality of play in the NFL this year is bad. There's very few top end teams this year. There's a lot of bad football being played. I could make the argument that the 49ers are one of the most disappointing teams in football this year. They're coming, they have talent everywhere. And they're 500, I believe, or one game under. They just lost to the Seahawks. I don't know if they're one game under or if they're 500.
Yeah, you're right. They're either 5-5 or 5-6.
But they're not having a Niners type season. Now they could obviously just turn it on and rattle off, 7 wins in a row and finish 12-5. But as of right now, there's a lot of bad football teams. Now I think there's a very legit chance we're the worst of them, because I thought the Saints were really, really, really bad, and they just killed us.
I think the Jaguars might be worse because, well, one, we beat them, and I don't see them winning another game as long as Mac Jones is going to be their starter. So they might end up with that number 1 overall pick. They got it right now.
Yeah.
We're at 3. We're picking 3 right now.
I don't think the Browns win another game.
Oh, I don't either.
I honestly don't know if the Browns cover a spread the rest of the year.
This episode is sponsored by Manly Bands. Dog Pack, it's hard to believe, but the holiday season is here. Ladies, treat your men, and men, how about treating yourselves? Manly Bands is having an early Black Friday sale, 30% off site-wide, plus you get an additional 25% off when you use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, when you check out. But don't wait, this sale will be ending soon. Guys, if you're getting married soon, you need a wedding band, or if you've been thinking about replacing or getting a second wedding band, Manly Bands is the best place to find bands made for men. Now, they've got your standard gold and white gold bands, but guys, they have some very unique materials and collections to choose from. Tungsten, tantalum, titanium, carbon fiber, even materials like meteorite, antler, and dinosaur bone. Yes, the bands are actually made from dinosaur fossils. They have rings made from Jack Daniel's whiskey barrels. They have a Fender guitar collection, a DC Comics collection, Lord of the Rings. There is so much to see. You just have to go to manlybands.com and use promo code DAWGS for 25% off your order. Manly Bands will send you a free ring size guide if you're unsure of which size you need, and every Manly Band comes shipped with a free silicone band so you can swap it out whenever you're working or playing hard. But don't wait, the early Black Friday sale won't last long. Get 30% off site-wide right now, plus an additional 25% off with code DAWGS, DAWGS at manlybands.com. We were talking about this earlier. I mean, it would be such a Browns thing to come out on Thursday night and somehow lay a smackdown on the Steelers at home and be like, what are we doing? Where did this come from? Like we did with the Ravens. I
will bet my house that doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's kind of what my pushback was like. I think they're playing pretty good football right now.
I don't know if we won't score. I think we're going to do a short preview, Steelers preview at the end of this, but yeah. I just think I think it's going to be a game where we're all real like, holy crap, we're such a dumpster fire about 6 minutes into this game.
We'll get to that, though. Yep.
But right. when I go and I'm looking at this game, first of all, I didn't get to start the game right away.
I know you were kind of playing catch up while we were all. Yes.
So you guys are talking about it, and I'm seeing your guys' messages, and I'm watching the first half, and I caught up with it about the 2-minute warning of the first half, and you guys were making it sound like we were losing 50-0. And I'm watching, and I'm like, man, when does this start getting real bad? We're within one score. We're moving the ball. And then we get to the 2-minute warning, and we came out early in the third quarter and tied up. And I was like, this isn't that bad. And then we end up getting killed. And I might get some pushback on this, but I think this game went about perfect for the Browns. We moved the ball. I mean, the offense was enjoyable to watch. Put up 433 yards of offense in this game, I'm pretty sure.
Hardly any rushing. But
Jameis Winston played well. Receivers, Jerry Jeudy went off. We had Elijah Moore, the touchdown. So we were entertaining to watch for about 3 quarters, and then we lost to keep our draft play. That's what else can we ask for at this point? That might sound terrible, but winning games is worse for you right now than losing games. And if we can play competitive and play an exciting brand of football, which 89-yard touchdowns are exciting to me. I thought it was a fun game to watch for 3 quarters. And then we still get to pick in the top 3. I got the Cavs to watch wins. That's about as good as you could ask for right now, because we're not winning games. The only other alternative is to just look lost.
Right.
So at least it was fun to watch. And that's how far low my bar is right now.
Yeah. So whenever you came in, like you missed the emotional roller coaster of what I'm about to talk about here. So we had the one play, the 89-yard touchdown to Jerry Jeudy. I was like, yes, emotions are up. It's like, yes, that was awesome. Like we're striking back. Maybe we can get the ball back and take the lead. Immediately followed by a 42-yard return by Taysom Hill. It's like, okay, excellent. Now we suck. And that was immediately followed by an interception by Denzel Ward. So right back up to, sweet. Browns offense comes out and runs 4 freaking plays, punt, and that was it from that interception. It was like, okay, awesome. So then the Saints go down to score again a little bit later. They get down to the Browns 11. Denzel Ward comes in, forces a fumble, and he recovers it. And then the Browns go on a 14-play drive right before the half just so they could miss 2 field goal attempts in a row and end the first half without any points.
What happened to Dustin Hopkins?
Dude, I know only 2 of the missed field goals yesterday counted, but he missed 3. 2 on that drive, 1 nullified by penalty.
Yes.
And then we got to move closer and he missed it again.
Did they change the kicking balls? I'm asking this because as bad as Dustin Hopkins has been this year, kicking around the league is terrible. Outside of Aubrey and Dallas.
Yeah. Justin Tucker's been notoriously bad.
He's been bad this year. He just missed 2 more. They just got beat to a team that made 6 field goals. Yeah. And he missed, I think, 2. Dustin Hopkins can't make any field. I mean, we're seeing kickers all over the league struggle. It makes me think, like, did something change? And they didn't tell anybody. Did they change the kicking balls? Is the air pressure different? Was there some minor rule change somewhere that we missed that nothing registered? And it's, it's a punt hair PSI, fuller now. Like something had to happen that we're seeing. I mean, Dustin Hopkins is coming off one of the best kicking seasons in Browns history. Yeah. And now he didn't just miss. They were bad.
And they were all the same.
No shot.
Left.
Yeah. And this is a guy who's one of the most accurate kickers in NFL history. So I don't know, like what happened? Did something change in the background that we just didn't notice? Did they change? I don't know. That's just speculation. Obviously, I'm Mary Kaying this, but I'm just asking the question because it just doesn't make sense to me that, and it's not just only in Cleveland. We're seeing kickers all over the league struggle very mightily this season.
No, but it also fits another theme that is driving me nuts with the Browns, not the rest of the league, but Browns specifically, is everybody we paid and extended like this offseason has shit the bed this year. Yeah. I mean, D-Hop got a big extension. He's a highly paid kicker. Sucks. JOK got extended. He got his big contract. Out. Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski got their extensions. We're 2-8. I'm sure there are other examples, but I don't have them off the top of my head, but other players that we probably extended. I mean, we picked up Jed Will's 5th-year option for this year. He sucks. Yeah. What are we doing? It's like nobody wants to play.
Do we think Jed Will's knee injury actually flared up?
No.
There isn't a snowball's chance in hell that knee injury flared up.
I tweeted that out. I said, I'm shocked. As soon as I saw that, I started laughing. I'm like, oh, it flared up.
Yep. It's going to be flaring up every game the rest of this season.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, there's no. I saw that and like there isn't a chance in hell that's true.
And it's funny because last week I think it was you, even maybe it was with you and Kenny, but you said Jed Wills won't play another snap for the Browns outside of injury to Jones or Conklin. Yeah. Lo and behold, this week DeJuan Jones gets his ankle snapped and he's out for the season. It's like, well, shit.
It was gross, and it really sucks.
And he was playing well
because ever since he went to left tackle and seemed like he was getting into a little bit of a groove. And now, and maybe you thought, okay, maybe we don't need to go address left tackle in the draft or the offseason now. And now I think you still have to because you got a guy who's had 2 season-ending injuries now.
Yep.
So now is injury a factor with him going forward where he can't stay on the field? And I'm not blaming him. This is such a fluke.
He got
rolled up on his own guy and just snapped his ankle in half. So it sucks for him. But free Greg Robinson. That's a great comment. He can at least bring stuff to help us get through games.
Yeah.
Copious amounts of it. But I feel bad for DeJuan, but now I think left tackle is probably back on the board, and that sucks. And especially, I feel like he was struggling with weight coming into the season, coming off the injury. What's it going to be now where he's who knows how long he's going to be off his ankle.
Immobile for a while, yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. I feel bad for the guy because I like his I like his energy.
Yeah, and
he seems like
he's a big dude.
Yeah.
He's a monster out there. Ohio State kid. I mean, we love that. But I mean, before he went out, I was looking at the PFF stuff today and the metrics. Highest graded lineman overall, highest graded pass blocking lineman, highest graded run blocking lineman. He was actually getting the job done yesterday. Gave up no pressures on the quarterback the entire game before he went out.
Offensive line pass pro pretty well.
Yeah.
We can't run block.
Yeah. No, not at all. No.
Which is now a year and a half problem.
Dude, that 4th and 1 play where they ran Nick Chubb right into the back of whoever it was, Posick or Teller.
Zero push.
No push, because Nick Chubb hit and bounced back, and I was like, whoa, we're losing yards here. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that was terrible. Do we want to play the other voicemail before we get too far?
Sure, let's do another one. And Brad, like Ken, he started his with a melody.
I'm not okay. Not okay. You tire me out, Browns. Oh my God. What do I say? I hope the Browns keep DeAndre Hopkins in New Orleans, and I'll go find another kicker. Who knows? Seems like every kicker this missing kick. He decides Aubrey in Dallas. Special teams can't cover. Defense can't defense, though there was times that they looked good, and there are times that, hey, let's not stop the most average gadget player in the NFL and just let him run all over us. DeJuan Jones out for the season. Jameis Winston probably had one of the best games of his life, and we still couldn't win. And this is just misery. Can't beat the Saints. We got the Steelers on Thursday, so that should be just lovely. We'll probably lose that game too. But, whatever. I'm in for the long run. Here we go again. Ruff, ruff, ruff. Let's go, guys. Yeah.
I want to know how the Browns played so well offensively and only score 14 points.
Well, yeah.
And obviously the missed field goals, but the way we moved the ball, it's like, why did we even have to settle for field goals? It was like we were playing against air for a lot of it. I mean, Jameis Winston was playing well.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, there were just some things that Jameis did that it still makes you scratch your head. I mean, there was a couple dirt balls yesterday. There were some wide throws. It was 4th down in the 4th quarter. We were going for it, obviously, down toward the end zone. And he had Cedric Tillman kind of on the sideline in the end zone. And instead of just throwing it up to him to see if maybe he can make a play, I don't know. He just sails it over his head out of bounds. It's like, why would you just throw the ball away on a 4th down? Like, you got to at least give the guy a shot. But still, like you said, 395 yards, damn near had 400 yards.
I started looking deeper, and they were 5 of 10 on 3rd down and 1 of 1 on 4th down. So they're 6 of 11 in like the money downs.
Okay.
As good as the Browns offense was yesterday, they were 3 of 13 on 3rd down.
Oh shit.
And 1 of 3 on 4th. So we were 4 of 17 in those money downs.
Well, that'll do it.
So my initial question was how we only score 14 points with, some of the gaudy offensive stats. And it's like, we were moving it. We were hitting some chunk plays, but we weren't sustaining drives, obviously. If you're 4 of 17 on money downs, 3 of 13, so you're just not sustaining drives. You're not staying on the field. You're not getting any kind of rhythm. The offense is so broken, and it's just, there's so much wrong with it. The quarterback play is just, I think Jameis is clearly an upgrade from Deshaun.
Oh yeah. Yep.
But he's still not, he's still not a top level starter in this league. The offensive line can't run block. There's zero threat to run the ball, which kills you when you get into the red zone, that you become so one-dimensional, so predictable, you're easier to stop. It's harder to pass in the red zone. The field's shrinking.
Yeah,
you don't have as much room to work. You got to be able to run the ball a little bit, and we have zero threat to run the ball. We're not sustaining drives. One positive we had 3 penalties. I think the last since Kevin, I think maybe it just feels like this, but since Kevin's gone to the
right.
CEO role, penalties have gone way down, I feel like.
You're right. They have. They absolutely have. Talking about the drives, not being able to sustain. So I just wanted to bring it up and look. So our drives went, the first one, 6 plays, turnover on downs. 3 plays, punt. 1 play, touchdown, the big touchdown. 4 plays, punt. 11 plays, missed field goal. 14 plays, missed field goal. So right there, we had 2 long drives, no points to show for it. And then in the second half, 8 plays, touchdown, and then 5 plays, punt. 7 plays, punt. 10 plays, turnover on downs, 3 plays, punt. There, a lot of short drives, a lot of punting.
Yeah. By the way, I watched this game. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I watched 3 quarters of this game. And I took away Derek Carr would be an upgrade for this team.
Yeah, the more I think about that suggestion you made about trying to go get Derek Carr for next year,
I don't know if he's on I don't know what kind of deal he's on there.
You'd have to trade for him.
Trade for him?
Yeah, he won't be a free agent.
Like I would, if you had Derek Carr or Kirk Cousins, who would you rather have?
Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr's younger.
A little bit more mobile.
Kirk Cousins has played with Kevin before. I guess it depends.
Kirk's just struggling. Kirk's looked like he was starting to play really well, and then he's banged up again.
Yeah.
And it's like, is that going to become an issue because of age?
Derek Carr's missed games this year too, and last year with injuries too. It's just it's going to happen. But
I think Derek Carr is a bridge quarterback. Justin Fields' name's out there, which we'll get into that kind of talk, as we get into the offseason. I think there's some good bridge quarterbacks out there that if we end up taking a quarterback early, we don't have to just throw him to the wolves.
Yeah, and
we don't have to punt on the season either. I think there's good enough bridge quarterbacks out there where if we fix some of the issues, we can at least be a fun competitive football team next year and then have a top level rookie for 2 years from now. Because I think there's some guys out there. I guess we've talked a lot about the game, but the big thing that people are talking about is the coaching staff and the GM. Are they going to survive? Because we have a history of firing people after the Steelers game when they lose. We play Thursday night. The poll, I just wanted to talk about the poll for a second. Do you think Kevin Stefanski survives the week if the Browns lose on Thursday Night Football to the Steelers? Right now it's 57% say yes, 43% say no. What do you think? Do you think he survives?
So I posted that on Twitter about the last 6 of the last 7 coaches were fired after Steelers game, but only one of them, and it was Hugh Jackson, was actually fired midseason. Obviously, we always play AFC North opponents at the end of the year. A lot of times it's Pittsburgh, and a lot of times that's at the tail end of a shitty season or 2 bad seasons, and a coach gets fired, the next day. But it's not necessarily because it was Pittsburgh. It's just because the year ended and you sucked.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to put too much correlation between the two. No, I don't think Kevin gets fired because this team has shown a complete and absolute stubbornness, refusal to change anything this season. Moving from Kevin to Dorsey as the play caller is the most drastic change they've made willingly, and that shocked me. I don't think they make another change unless they're forced to, because of injury on the field for players. But in terms of coaching, I don't think they do anything till after the season.
I don't think there's any world he gets fired mid-season. Mm-mm. That just screams we're a dumpster fire. That's
like Jets, Saints, which are better than us, actually.
You know what I mean? But I'm just getting to the point now where it's like, is he going to survive the off season? Is he going to be back here next year? I don't know. I'm almost starting to feel, and we've had people telling us this, and we've fought them on it over and over and over again. But I feel like AB should be more on the hot seat than Kevin. If my takeaway is I don't know if the roster is as good as we think it is, well, who built the roster?
Yeah. No, I'm not going to argue with you on it. I'm kind of in the same camp where, just the development of the season and like you've been saying, that the roster is just not what we were told it was going to be, and we can see it on the field. Like it's not. It's verifiable. That is on him. It's on him. It's on his scouts. It's on his staff. And then Podesta, all those brainiacs using their analytics to give us 2 and 8.
And then if I'm playing devil's advocate with myself, it's the talent. Maybe the talent's not as good as what we thought it was going to be, but all of his drafts, I'm pretty sure, at least by draft experts, immediately after the draft were graded as high drafts.
Yeah, like B's or higher.
High B's and A's. So it's not like I talked about this on my episode with Kenny with Jed. It's not like AB. To the biggest stretch I can think of with him is like Anthony Schwartz. Yeah. And we thought we had so much talent that it was okay to reach on a guy that we thought had a ton of potential and that kind of speed. But so then it's like, well, if all these guys, all these draft experts, all these front offices are giving him good draft grades, then are we just not developing players? So then it's coaching. So then it's like, well, if we can't figure this out and it's just fucked everywhere, do we just have to get rid of everybody?
And sadly enough, that's what ends up happening more times than not with the Browns. Like we just get into these dumpster fire holes where we suck and it just snowballs and we can't get out of it. And then Jimmy just comes in and everybody's gone. Rather than really trying to identify the problem, I suppose.
But if you fire Kevin and you fire AB, you have to fire DePodesta too.
Oh my gosh!
And you can't bring anybody back who was a part of this.
No.
And it just really sucks for us as Browns fans because we had this 4-year window, and maybe it wasn't much, but it was ours. You know,
we've never had a 4-year window. You know before, what I mean?
People. We've never had a 4-year window. We've never had, a 4-year stretch where 2 of those years we went to the playoffs. We beat the Ravens more times than they've beat us in the last 4 years. We've split with the Steelers. We've dominated the Bengals. We've actually, we've performed well in division. We've made the playoffs twice. Our coach has been coach of the year twice. We had comeback player of the year. We had we had aspirations throughout like the whole season. Seasons weren't mathematically done until the end. And now it's like, man, are we going to be back to seasons over before it even began? And that is so hard for me now that I've tasted a window. I've been licking the window. I don't want to go back to just being like, oh, why am I watching? There's no point of this, especially when my other teams are good.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? And so it's just, it sucks. It cuts deeper, not even just for this season. I think I said this before. It feels like the end of an era, especially if we start purging people out of the front office and the coaching staff and players. Like these have been the best 4 years of my fandom in terms of my adult life being a Browns fan. And we got very little to show out of it and it's over already. And I thought it was just beginning. It just closed on us like that. It just
slam shut. This episode is sponsored by Omaha Steaks. Browns fans, nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unraveled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. This year, skip the holiday hustle and bustle and save 50% off site-wide during Omaha Steaks Cyber Sale at omahasteaks.com. Plus, get a $30 reward card when you shop early and score an extra $30 off with promo code DOGS. With 5 generations of experience, Omaha Steaks consistently delivers the world's best steak experience, and their gifting experts have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages starting at $89.99. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide during the Cyber Sale at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code DOGS, DAWGS, and a $30 reward card when you shop early. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code DOGS. Minimum purchase may apply.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The changing of seasons can affect how you feel. 1 in 5 people experience some form of depression, no matter the time of year.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, our vision is to build a mentally healthy nation for all. Visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
That's what hurts the most about it It's like, I don't want to tear it down. I think that is my biggest reason for not wanting to fire Kevin, because I do think he's a good football coach. And if he was willing to give up play calling to Ken Dorsey this year, I think he would give it up to a guy who is actually a good play caller.
Yeah, like a good OC.
A good offensive coordinator, a good play designer, actually modernize the offense. Inject some speed into this, because Kevin is clearly a good football coach. And I mean, he's turned the team around twice, essentially. He's coached in chaos, and he gave us the playoffs twice. Fans of good teams might say that's if that's all you're happy with, and that's all we got, in my life. Obviously the bar is much higher and we want to get further, which is why we were okay with, the Deshaun deal. Cause we were like, we're in our window, let's go for it. But I don't want to just kick the guy to the curb who helped turn the franchise around, but I also don't want to be married to mediocrity. And that's where it's like, who's to blame? And we have to really, is it fixable? Is it fixable with these guys, or does it need to be blown up? And I don't care really what the fans say, because their answer is always to just blow it up. And there's a lot more to it. You really risk setting it back, this season to compared to, 6 years. So it's not easy.
I kind of feel like anybody who was hired to help create this new offense should be fired at the end of the year. I don't want any of those guys back. We had reasons to be hopeful and high on all those guys when they came in. And now that I've seen this high flying, throw it around the yard offense that, they designed, I don't want any more of it, period. What do you make of the Vrabel stuff? So there's been a lot of speculation going around because Mike Vrabel, he traveled with the team. I think it was the first time he traveled to an away game with the team. He was on the sideline yesterday and he had a headset on. Like, it's basically on Twitter and stuff. Like, Tony Grossi's the one making kind of a big deal about it, but he posted immediately after the game yesterday. He said, I think Kevin's done after the Steelers game. Vrabel comes in. He said, life's not fair. Well,
here's my thing is I don't really give two shits what Tony Grossi says.
We usually don't.
Obviously, I think I like Mike Vrabel as a coach. I think he's very good. I thought he was an awesome hire by the Browns. He's in the building right now.
Yeah, I know. I've made that point with people too. Like,
he's in the building right now. And obviously he's not the head coach, but he's helping develop the players and giving a lot of insight. So you're telling me he's giving insight and helping coaching up players, and Kevin and current coaching staff is dismissing it? No, you don't know what you're talking about, is because that's the only argument to say he would all of a sudden just come in and fix it. He's literally in the building. It's like, you've been the VP, you're in the building. And if he has all these great ideas, unless he's just too afraid to step on Kevin's toes and like give him input, which I don't get that sense in terms of how this Browns organization operates. I feel like it's pretty, good communication wise, everybody on the same page, that kind of thing. I just don't know what good that does. And then you fire him mid-season, and then Vrabel comes in. What if it doesn't get better? And then so you're going to let Vrabel walk? Or what if we, because you made the change and you get a spark, and then you like win 2 or 3 games and you think it's great, and so we bring him back, then we suck, and then it's all, you know what I mean? Like,
kind of like the Raiders with Pierce.
Yes. So it's just, I don't know.
The season's a wash, so just let it wash.
Yes,
let it wash, and then we'll rinse our hands when it's done, and we'll figure it out then.
Yes, here's the like. We want them to, as fans, to make huge changes and do all this stuff. But the teams that do that in the season, it's not looked great upon. Like, the Jets got drugged for firing Robert Saleh. The Raiders got dogged on for firing coordinators when they just hired them. The Bears are getting dragged for if we're going to do anything right, let's at least have some consistency and some like cohesiveness in the building, and that's not be influenced by outside factors. Like, let's at least just try to take care of business in the building. If we get to the season's effed, okay, we're not doing anything this year. So it does you no good to move on right now. It does you no good unless the players just come out and just refuse to play. I don't see what what it does to move on right now in the middle of a season.
No, and like I said earlier in the show, and I'll reiterate now, this team is not one to change anything. I mean, we saw it earlier in the season. I mean, players were you saw Amari Cooper on the field. It didn't look good. You know, the body language, it just didn't look like he was checked out. You know, they obviously didn't believe in Deshaun Watson, but the team wasn't going to make a change. They were riding and dying with Deshaun Watson. And then the only reason he's not playing is because he got hurt. If he didn't get hurt, I guarantee he'd still be starting games. We'd be putting up 172 yards passing a game, and that'd be it.
If that.
Yeah, if that.
I think I made the point in the Discord yesterday. Somebody asked if the players had quit on Stefanski, and I get the sense that the players quit a long time ago when they saw we were rolling out a quarterback that didn't give them a chance to win games.
Yeah.
And we heard this all the way back to training camp. We heard from multiple sources in training camp that we didn't look that good, especially on the offensive side of the football. And we just kind of shrugged it off like it's training camp, blah, you know, we've had some injuries. They haven't got to play together yet. Judy missed time. Cooper missed time, yada, yada, yada. You know, turns out they were right. So I just don't know. I don't know if they were bought in on this season at all from the beginning. And then you can say the coach has got to get people bought in. But if the coach is, which we don't know, again, it's more speculation. If the coach is being forced to play a quarterback, and I hate that AB kind of hides behind Kevin in some of this stuff. I feel like Kevin has to answer a lot of questions that AB should at least be there to field some of these questions. He's the one who built the roster, you know? Yeah. And I feel like Kevin plays shield for this a lot. AB comes out and does his, you know, his mid-season presser, and then you don't hear from him a lot, and Kevin's just taking bullets, and it's like, hey, where's my leader?
Shit rolls downhill, man.
Yeah, but good leaders don't do that.
Well, but that's what's happening. So no, I'm with you. I'm not saying it's right.
But yeah, so I don't know how it's going to go. I won't be shocked if we blow it up, but God, if we blow it up, please you have to hit on the coach.
Oh my gosh. And it'd be nice if you hit on the quarterback too. Just the last couple things before we do. You got anything else before you want to dive into Pittsburgh?
No, we're good.
So I made this point yesterday. It just blows my mind, but it's such a Browns way to lose a game. I mean, almost 400 yards passing from your quarterback. Your offense has 0 turnovers. Your defense forces 2 takeaways, and you lose by 3 touchdowns.
Well, one, we talked about we couldn't convert on third down. Right. I don't understand how Taysom Hill.
Thank you. That was my next point. I want to go through the stats. I just want to put the numbers out there in the ether for everybody.
Taysom Hill had 7 carries for 138 yards and 3 touchdowns. Almost 50% of his carries were touchdowns. Taysom Hill's like a good football player. He's not freaking prime Barry Sanders.
So Taysom Hill is like a 33-year-old gadget player who has been a gadget player for the Saints for a long time. I've watched a lot of Saints games. I've watched a lot of Taysom Hill. Every time he lines up in the backfield at the quarterback position, what does he do? He runs the ball. And it's like, for some reason, we didn't know that.
Listen, people like to crap on Stefanski, but Jim Schwartz,
I'm kind of tired of him.
Has been, we look very undisciplined at times. If you watch, anytime somebody runs any kind of like read option or a boot, even on the long MVS touchdown, I don't know who it was that came off the edge, but they bit so hard on the play fake that Derek Carr rolls out right outside of him, throws the little crossbody pass. It goes for touch. And it's like, bro, what are you looking at? Your responsibility is quarterback contain. You have to make sure he actually handed that ball off before you commit. On the read option for Hill's first touchdown, I don't know who it was. The outside backer just came flying down and tackling the running back. And I'm like, that's not your responsibility. Like, I don't know if they're feeling the pressure and people are trying to do too much. Do your job. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, so you got half the secondary playing man, half of it playing zone. We're passing people off to nobody. I don't know what's going on with the defense. And like I mentioned, we saw cracks of this at times last year, but we overcame it with forcing a shit ton of turnovers. When we stopped getting those, the defense looks very blah. And I've kind of been on record saying this year that we've played well enough up until this point to win some of these games, but the last couple of weeks it's just getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. So Taysom Hill, 248 yards. This is the third most all-purpose yards by an NFL player this season. 18 yards passing. He did throw a pass. 138 rushing, like you said. 50 yards receiving, and the 42-yard return. Like, did they not know he could do this stuff or what? I mean, their top two receivers are gone. They just picked MVS up off the street like 2 weeks ago.
He's like revitalizing his career.
That's so frustrating. So freaking frustrating.
But yeah, I don't know. And like I said, Taysom Hill's obviously he's good, but we made him look like he was a perennial Pro Bowler. We made him look like prime Colin Kaepernick. I mean,
he usually has like 2 or 3 like really good games a year, but this is like the best game he's ever had. He was their starting quarterback at one point a couple years ago for a few games. Remember?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know that.
I don't know.
This is why I'm just like, I'm not even sweating. The Cavs are 14-0. That's just what I'm like, whatever. I don't even stress, I had to leave at the start of the fourth quarter, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah. It's not like you said, I'm not going to fight my wife over this. Yeah. Because she'll be like, hey, I got to plan something. It's on a Sunday. Is that cool? I'm like, yeah, plan it. Like, doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter to me.
My biggest pushback here, before we move on to the Steelers real quick is, which I feel like there's not much to say about that game, is some people are saying like Stefanski, the Browns need a coach who won't take crap from players. Stefanski doesn't motivate men, but except for he's done it for many times. We can't just forget that just last year he did it. You know what I mean? In his very first season, he did. We have talked to players who've talked about how much they like Kevin Stefanski. I don't think that's not the problem. I don't think Kevin Stefanski not being a good enough leader is the issue. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird, but I don't think that's a problem.
I don't disagree. I feel like Kevin has been different this year. He just seems different. His demeanor seems different. Almost like he just seems like a guy who knows it's a lost cause sometimes. Like with some of his answers, he just kind of goes through the motions. Well, which I get all that.
Get tired of saying the same shit on this podcast every week.
Yeah, I know.
He probably gets. I've coached bad football teams, obviously not at the NFL level, but I've coached bad football teams before, and it's just like, first, you're running plays in practice, and you can't do them. And normally you would be like, we're going to run this until we get it right, until you realize, well, this will be the only play we run today, and we'll have to keep running it again tomorrow. And it's this, and then and it's just like, you don't need, by week 3, you're like, is it basketball season yet? So it's hard. Trust me. I've never done it. I've never been paid millions of dollars to do it, but it's hard to keep the edge when you turn on the film and you're like, well, this one's an L.
This episode is brought to you by Bodden Sports. Browns fans, Bodden Sports is your one-stop shop for all your athletic gear. Bodden started out perfecting and manufacturing the best balls in the business. Yeah, if that sounded dirty, that's more about your mind than my words. But hey, it's true. Baseballs, softballs, footballs, basketballs, volleyballs, soccer balls, you name it, and Bodden has engineered the highest standard sports balls available. And now they offer more than just sports balls. If you got kids playing baseball or softball, Bodden has batting gloves and bats to go along with both game balls and training balls. If you're into basketball, Bodden makes basketball specifically for indoor or outdoor use. Heck, Bodden even has all the equipment you need for pickleball, which is one sport that I hear everyone is playing, and yet I still never have. And I need to fix that soon. But don't miss the backyard game section of Bodden's website, where you can order everything you need for this upcoming outdoor season. pool balls, backyard volleyball nets, croquet, bocce, horseshoes, cornhole, and more. Right now, you can get 10% off your entire order at Baden Sports, BADEN sports.com/dogs, DAWGS, and use promo code DOGS when you check out. That's 10% off all the top quality sporting gear you need this season. BadenSports.com/dogs. Speaking of this one's an L, right? We got to talk about Thursday night already.
So Thursday night, just chalk it up. We'll see you guys later this week for another therapy session. This is, I don't think the Browns aren't going to score. I'd be shocked if the Browns score a touchdown, to be honest.
The Steelers' defense is so freaking good.
TJ Watt's the runaway defensive player of the year. I was looking today; he's minus 200. The next closest odds is plus 1,000.
How many times does Jameis Winston get sacked?
6 or 7.
How many of those are TJ Watt?
3.
Because they have Highsmith too, right? A couple other guys that get after it.
And who are we going to be playing at left tackle?
Efidi.
Yeah, it's
or Jed if his knee flares down, and either way they're getting past him. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's so it's just I don't want to be too doom and gloom for you guys. I'm obviously going to watch, and I'm sure the energy in the stadium will be good for about 5 minutes at the start of the game. Hopefully,
I think it might be the worst primetime game we've ever seen in Cleveland.
But
attendance wise,
it's one of those things where they're coming to this game going, if we get to 3, we can probably win. and I just don't know if we're gonna. Russell Wilson tore us up last year in Denver.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so he played well against us last year on a worse team. They have some athletes at wide receiver. George Pickens, we've seen him make, circus catches against us. It's just, and the biggest thing is the defense. We put up 14 points on the Saints, who've just been getting torched.
Yeah.
Just been getting torched. And now we have to play them on a short week.
And one thing we did not mention, we didn't say his name one time. We said it in the previous show, but we didn't say it tonight. Alvin Kamara was running all over us. He just didn't need to because Taysom Hill did the rest. Yeah, but whenever he got the ball, dude, we couldn't tackle him.
Screens. It's like, did nobody tell the Browns that Alvin Kamara is a good receiving back?
And he's like the only guy they have. So, Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren,
we watched Jaylen Warren.
Last year, he killed us.
Yes.
I just don't want to try to be too doom and gloom, but I'm not going to sit here and tell Browns fans to, expect some fight. Maybe we have a chance. Guys, we got a chance. It's a divisional game. Maybe that's there's always a chance in a divisional game. Hope you can hang your hat on. But other than that,
I'm going to watch, but it's like, if you got something else to do,
or if you got to get up early for work on Friday, you want to check out in the second
the
half.
good thing is, you'll be able to go to sleep early and you don't have to stay up late and watch the whole thing. Hopefully we're wrong, but I just don't, we can't run the ball against bad run defenses.
Yeah, right.
Okay. And so we're not going to be able to run the ball against these guys. I just don't see any way that we can run the ball against them. And if we have to go one-dimensional against TJ Watt and Highsmith and these guys, Minka will have a pick.
Oh, yes. This will be a 3-turnover game for Jameis.
Yes, This is just going to be – I just don't see this. Maybe this is reverse psychology. Maybe we're setting ourselves up for this and we'll come out and surprise us and we'll be kind of like for the Ravens game.
That'd be great.
This is I just don't think we match up well right now in this.
And with the Ravens, though, remember, we talked like the defense was exploitable. The secondary banged up. They had backups like everywhere, and teams were just torching them through the air, and Jameis torched them through the air like he was supposed to. Not the Steelers, man. That defense is a different animal.
I watched them, I think, in their first game, and I was like, holy shit, this defense is good. And then I've been watching them, and it's just they're what we thought we would be on the defensive side of the ball. And we're not even in the same realm as them defensively. Not even in the same realm.
No.
They're an NFL team, and we're a junior varsity high school team. So, I don't know. So it's going to be ugly, but we'll see you guys for a therapy session, and we'll just be doing this again.
So 2 therapy sessions this week.
Yeah, I think we're going to try to do Friday?
Yeah, we'll do one Friday.
So I don't know about a time yet. We'll
announce it. We'll announce
Just
it.
know Friday we'll be back to talk to you guys about all of the same stuff. Just
a different opponent.
Just 4 days later. So make sure you guys tune into that. But yeah, just another. I want to get the chat's input on this. Okay. Obviously, the Browns season isn't going well. Cavs season's going great. Should we do like 5 to 10 minutes of Cavs talk in some of these episodes? Because I would love to have something fun to talk about sometimes. And I watch most of the game, and most of the games and the games I don't get to watch, I at least am following along on Gamecast. So I'm pretty versed in the Cavs. So let's talk some Cavs basketball going forward in this season if you guys want. This guy says, if y'all run the ball, you'll probably win. Well, we can't run the ball. I'm telling you that right now.
We had 63 yards rushing as a team against the Saints.
Yeah, we can't run the ball. If we try to run the ball, we'll be behind the chains. We'll be in 3rd and 10 all game. And we'll be worse than 3 of 13 somehow. So we're gonna, like I said, maybe we'll talk about some Cavs. We got some fun stuff to talk about outside of the Browns. We'll to try to keep our spirits up. Because if we just do this for 8 more weeks, I wouldn't even listen to this show. So let us know what you guys think, especially if you're not watching live and you're listening on the recording. Let us know in the comments if we should talk some Cavs basketball or anything like that, because I would be cool for that. So we're going to wrap it up. We'll talk to you guys Friday sometime. Thank you guys for being here, sticking it out with us through the bad and the ugly. Like I said, our Super Bowl is right around the corner. We just got to get through 8 more weeks of this pesky season, and then we can get to the fun off season where we get to talk about the things that matter for us as Browns fans.
The
draft and potential new coaches, fun stuff. Not wins and losses. That's lame.
Man, it takes me back to before. What was it, 2020, man?
Yeah. So it's right around the corner, all the fun stuff. So we appreciate you guys being here, hanging out, keeping us company on these therapy sessions, keeping the chat going. So again, Browns suck. Go Cavs. Hopefully 15-0 against the Celtics. I fucking hate the Celtics. So let's go Cavs. Hopefully be 15-0, have second place in the longest win streak to start the season ever, all by ourselves this time tomorrow night. Well, probably not this time. It doesn't start till about this time. In maybe 28 hours. It'll be 15-0. So
I like you being specific.
Yes. So again, screw the Browns. Go Cavs. We'll see you guys on Friday.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dogs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedogspodcast.com.
This episode is brought to you by Danger Coffee. Browns fans, we talk about how Danger Coffee is made free from mold toxins that are in 45% of the world's coffee, but that's not all that Danger Coffee has to offer. Mineral and nutrient deficiencies are a big deal. They make you feel sick, tired, stressed, and they can give you brain fog. These deficiencies negatively affect your immune system, your digestion, sleep, metabolism. Have you ever wondered why you get an initial burst from your coffee, but then you get that little crash not long after? Danger Coffee's patent-pending process remineralizes your body with more than 50 trace minerals and electrolytes, leaving you more energized, engaged, powerful. These micronutrients enter the cells to boost performance. They bind to toxins to provide detoxification support. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line, guys, is minerals matter, and most of us really don't get enough of them on a daily basis. Danger Coffee delivers micronutrients, plus it gives you access to the minerals you already have. Head to dangercoffee.com, use our code DOGS, DAWGS, for 10% off your order, and that code can be used over and over, so you get 10% off every order you make using code DOGS. It's time to start every day off with a cup of coffee that gets you going and actually keeps you going. dangercoffee.com, code DOGS.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them, the right tools and supplies are never far away. so the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.